A few days ago, the Coal Ministry announced Coal Exchange, a market for coal buying and selling. In Hindi, there's a saying, Neem Hakim Khatre Jaan. In this episode, we discuss why it is so. As a maverick observer of the Indian economy, I like to take this walk on economic issues that are there for us, for the economy. And it becomes very pleasing when you, as a subscriber, get to know that a new episode is up. And the best way to know that is to press the bell icon, because that will immediately tell you that a new episode is on. And now, onwards with our story. Coal exchange, a market for buying and selling of coal. You can say what's new there, because coal is always bought and sold in a market, except that this is supposed to be like a commodity exchange. A forwards market, a spot market, a market where people come with demand and there are suppliers who will respond to it on an electronic platform. Sounds great in principle. Sounds extremely bad in implementation. Why? Because in India, market for all stocks, currencies, commodities are run by an organization called the Securities and Exchange Board of India. They've been doing it since 1992. That makes it 34 years. They know how to do it. India usually is the fourth largest. Of course, with the exchange devaluation, it has gone down to fifth or sixth. But that doesn't matter. The point is, it's a very big market. They run it very well. Yet every government ministry thinks they can do it better. And there is the trouble. Why I say Neem Hakim Khatre Jaan. Nobody, nothing in the history of the coal ministry tells you that they have studied, that they know the market better than how SEBI runs it. If you look at this document, which has been issued by the Coal Ministry, the Power Exchange Rules, the most surprising thing is that there is no reference to SEBI. Why would you do that? Essentially, the Coal Ministry is saying that they don't need to learn anything from the market regulator. If it had been a different country, I would have understood. But within the same government, at the same time, this is not just ridiculous. This is very worrisome. And to know why it's worrisome, let me give you an example. A few years ago, next to Coal Ministry, the Power Ministry did the same thing. The Power Ministry started out Electricity Exchange, a market where electricity could be traded. Again, there was just no effort made to be in touch with SEBI. I know this from my experience. In fact, as these articles will tell you, the Power Ministry fought a long-running court battle to say that power markets should not be run by SEBI. Now, I can understand in the USA there's the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, there are other power exchange. We are not USA. We are not a $60,000 per capita $60,000 per capita economy or a 29 trillion economy. We are just 4 trillion. We could do with a bit of interface with each other. In fact, much more. And you know what has been the result? Just look at this graph. What it does show you is from 2024 June till 2026 June, that is 2 years, there has been no rise in the volume of trade in the electricity exchange. And why is it so? It's not because people are not asking for more power. The data across the country shows the demand for power is rising. Sure, lots of power companies want to go through non-exchange traded route. I can understand the power purchase agreement. But those who want to, they can't. Why? Because the Power Ministry suddenly decided to issue a rule, and that was in 2024, that no power price in that market can be above rupees 10. In other words, no matter how high the demand goes, no matter how short the supply, the price will only be 10 rupees. If you say that absurd, it's made even more absurd by what happened next. What did they do? They said, fine, if you are not comfortable with this price cap that we have put in, we are giving you another market, which is the high, and it's called it the high price market. And in that market, power could be bought and sold at flexible prices beyond the requirements of this market. Now, how you could go into the high price market, we leave that for the time being. But the point is, if you look at the data today, and not just today, continuously, there are only sellers in the market. Naturally, the sellers want higher price. There's nobody to purchase that power. On the demand side, it is zero. Zero. Is that even a market? Is that any way to run a market for any commodity? So essentially, what has happened? The power market in India has failed to serve the people. Remember, a market is supposed to serve the needs of the people, not to keep bureaucrats happy. But what it has done is, in the rivalry between these ministries, jobs have been created for the bureaucrats. There's a power ministry has officers monitoring the power market. There's a Central Electricity Regulatory Commission which comes out with regulations and rules. But as this data again shows, the market volumes have not taken off. They will not. They were never meant to take off because the price discovery in the market was undercut right at the beginning. And that couldn't have happened unless and until the power regulators decided that they know and they will control the market. The SEBI run market, you can expect, does anybody expect that any share price, the price will be capped? And there are so many other things that goes in terms of the knowledge base that the SEBI brings along. That is how regulatory systems run. Here there is no regulator, it is pseudo regulators running the power market. And the same experience today is being repeated or is being sought to be repeated in the coal exchange. For instance, who will run the coal exchange? An organization called the Coal Controller Organization. Now, I can tell you that till a decade ago, the Coal Controller Organization just had one technical person. It was based in Kolkata. Till now, it's been shifted out. There are other things that have happened. But what is it there? What is its capacity? The Coal Controller Organization had one rule, or rather had one role. What was that role? To see whether mining activity is going on in the coal mines. That was the reason why it was set up in 1912. That is still its remit. And today, suddenly, that coal controller has become the stock market regulator. Does it get more absurd than this? So market for power, where prices can't be figured out. Market for coal, where the regulator doesn't even know what is a stock market. And you have these series of these markets coming up because the bureaucrats think that they want jobs, that the people don't need it, that it will not serve the interest of the people, is something that nobody really could be bothered. And that's all from this edition of On Point. For a detailed description of what we discussed here, please visit my Substack. The link is in the description below. Thank you.